Okay. So for bell work today, given this right triangle and these set numbers, I would like you for angle B to label these three sides: opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. So tell me, which of these numbers is the opposite of angle B, which one is adjacent to angle B, which one is the hypotenuse of the right triangle? Okay, I'll give you 3 minutes to try this on your own, and then we'll go over it. Howdy, howdy. I got you right. Okay. So can anyone tell me which of these numbers is the opposite? Yes, that is the one that is across from our angle. That side is not touching the angle. It is opposite it. All right, I'm going to switch these up. Which one is the hypotenuse? 8.5 is the hypotenuse because it's opposite the 90-degree angle, which means 4 here has to be the adjacent leg, which hopefully makes sense because it's the one next to the angle, right? It's actually touching the angle. Okay, I'm going to take this one step further than I asked you to. Let's go ahead and use our formulas to write our 3 trigonometric ratios for angle B. All right, so to do that, you should have in your notes from last time that the sine of any angle is the opposite over the hypotenuse. So for our problem then, the sine of angle B would be the opposite side is 7.5 over the hypotenuse, which is 8.5. When you come back from spring break, we'll actually do something with that formula, but for now, we're just writing it. That's the equation. Done. The cosine of any angle is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So for our problem then, the cosine of B would be 4 over the hypotenuse, 8.5. The tangent should be the last formula you have in your notes. It's opposite over adjacent. Oh, I forgot to write Ka Toa Sa Ka Toa Sakatoa. So for our problem then, the tangent of angle B would be the opposite, 7.5 over the adjacent 4. That's it. That's all I'm asking you to do for 6.5. That's not true. There's one more thing. But that's like 80 to 90% of all I'm asking you to do in 6.4. Yay? Not too shabby? Okay. All right. So today we'll finish out 6.4. We'll do more of these practice problems, and then we'll do one of the problems on the homework. You might even get a little bit of time to work. Wednesday is going to be our review day. And then Thursday, we're going to do a mid-chapter test. This homework for 6.4 is due on Wednesday. If you turn it in Thursday, you are within the grace period and you will get full credit. If you wait till after spring break, you'll get 60%. Okay, so let's do some more. How are you feeling about this? Do you think you could do both of these angles, or would you like me to do one and then have you do the other? Do you want to see another example worked through? Anybody? Okay. All right. Let's have you try both of them. Okay. Let's do angle S first. So angle S is this angle right here. Angle S. So you need to do 2 things. First, you need to label the triangle. So you need to tell me which of these is the opposite, which of them is the adjacent, and which is the hypotenuse for angle S. And then step 2, you're going to use your formulas. So you should tell me that the sine of S is blank over blank. The cosine of S is blank over blank. And the tangent of S is blank over blank. Okay? I'll give you, we'll stop at 1.5 minutes then. We'll break this up into 2 parts. I'll give you 1.5 minutes to label for angle S and then plug your numbers in to the appropriate spots in your formulas. And then I'll give you 1.5 minutes to do angle R. Yeah, sociology. That class is born in. So you have these labels. Opposites. You got sign. Signs opposite. But AP Calc also same thing. Wednesdays we do. Yeah. But the bright side about that is unit 7 is super short. Absolutely. We've actually done like about a quarter of the lessons for unit 8 as well. So we'll probably take 3 weeks, maybe 4. So we'll be done. The rest is just. Very close. Cosine is 5. Cosine is 12. 5 is the opposite of plus. The second one, no, those are right. Wait, hold on. Ooh, hold on. Did I mess you up? That's the one of you two. I messed you up. You were right. It was 5/13, 12/15. That sign should be opposite. 5 cosine adjacent. 12. Double check. Okay, that's good. That's right. That's right. That's everybody else. How are we doing over here? Adobe. Yeah, that's where you want to label up. Is that picture right there? So first step is label the 3 sides opposite adjacent. Oh, well, let's take it step by step. First step is really the most important step. We got to label this. So if we label this for angle S, if you had to guess which of these numbers is opposite angle S, you're right. Which one's the hypotenuse? You're right. Which one is therefore the adjacent? Yeah. Okay, now step 2, we got to use those formulas. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So it will be 5/13. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so it'll be 12/13. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so it'll be 5/12. And then that's it. Done. Yeah, it'll feel like it's unfinished or like what was the point in doing everything we just did? And that's because this is unfinished. We haven't actually solved anything. We do that. That's 6.5. We'll do that after the mid-chapter test. All right, so I want you to try this again. This time for angle R. So erase your labels. Okay. Now we're using angle R. So which of these numbers is opposite angle R, which is adjacent to angle R, and what's the hypotenuse? And then you write your fractions again. The sine of R will be blank over blank. Cosine of R will be blank over blank. Tangent of R will be blank over blank. Your answers should be very similar to the answers you got for the first 3. I'm talking spooky similar. There's a pattern that you can use to get the answers for sine of r, cosine of r, and tangent of r. Do you want a paper copy of any of the homeworks now that you're most recent one? This one, which one would you say is opposite angle R? That's right. Hypotenuse? That's right. So that sine of R will be 12 over 15. Which one's the adjacent? That's right. So cosine then would be 5 over 13. Close. Opposite over adjacent. So it'd be 12 over 5 with our new labels. Because now 12 is the opposite. 5 is the adjacent. Good job. We feel better about these? Yes. Yes, yes. Great job. Yes. Wait. I think you have your labels for adjacent and hypotenuse. 13. So that should be, yeah, switch the 12 to 15. Yes, yes, yes. Great job. Right. Okay. Yeah, I think yeah, those are great. All right, Xavier, which one's opposite the angle arc? Yeah, that's right. This one right here. And then which one's the, I'm going to switch it, hypotenuse. Not quite. 13. Since it's opposite the 90-degree angle, which means 5 has to be our adjacent. So for now, if we plug in, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so it'll be 12 over 13. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so it'll be 5 over 13. And tangent is opposite over adjacent, so it'll be 12 over 5. So do you see how if you know these answers, we, to be honest, can write these answers without doing any of this work I did over here. Do you see the pattern? All that switches is the opposite and adjacent labels, right? The hypotenuse stays the hypotenuse. So this becomes that, and that becomes that. And then for tangent as well, flip it, right? That's all that happens. Switch your sine and cosine answers and flip tangent. Flip those and then flip those. The homework has you do that for all the angles, right? Like for every problem, it says find this one and this one. This is not a coincidence. It will always be like that. So once you have your first angles, just switch your sine and cosine and flip tangent, and you'll have the second answers. Questions on this? I feel pretty good about this. I think you all are doing really well. All right, we will do one more and then a homework question, and then that's it. So 2 problems here. For angle 45 degrees, label these 3 sides. I have hidden one of the answers. The answer was written there, but now it's hidden. And no one can know what that answer was that I just hid. Because look how hidden it is. If you, okay, scratch it out on your screen and then it'll be hidden for you too. That way you won't know one of the answers. Okay. And then tell me what is the sine of 45, the cosine of 45, and the tangent of 45. And again, your answers will all be blank over blank, blank over blank, blank over blank. Do the same thing for B, for angle 30 here. Label your sides. What's the sine of 30? Blank over blank. Cosine of 30. Blank over blank. And tangent of 30. Blank over blank. I'll give you 3 minutes to do both of these problems. Bump, bump, bump. And then we'll go over it. And then we'll do a homework problem. That'll be it. Supposed to be a high of 68 on Wednesday. That'll be very nice. And then a high of 70 on Monday next week. I feel like this is like the nice temperatures you get right before winter hits you one more time. But we'll see. Yeah, not that long. Maybe. Polar vortex. Okay, I'm gonna walk around. If you're stuck, got nothing on your paper, stop me as I walk by and I'll help you out. All right. Okay. Yeah. This is the first one sine. That's the cosine. Because you're adjacent also. Yay. Very good. All right. Yep, there you go. Great. Get up. Okay. You good. You might have one extra. The white that looks like that's one. Put that for cosine. Bernard Xavier. Yes, but don't for this part, you only want to use that outside. So this opposite side. So that 1 over. If you put 1 over 2 like we did. Okay. All right, which one is opposite our angle for the 45? Well, I was waiting for somebody to say 1 and then I'll be like, which one? And then, okay, but we didn't do that. Fine. I'll just have my own fun up here. It's that one. The hypotenuse is, but it was that one the whole time because it's opposite the 90-degree angle. I bet you that was a shocker. And then this is your adjacent. Okay, All right, all right, all right. I'm gonna tell you, I looked around, I saw this on a lot, and it's 100% fine. The sine is opposite over hypotenuse, right? So this would be 1 over the square root of 2. If you put that on the homework, you'll get full credit. If you put that on the test, you'll get full credit. But to be honest, it's not the best answer because it has a square root in the denominator. And we were arbitrarily told by a bunch of old mathematicians who died centuries ago that that's a bad thing. Okay. So to be fair, if this was the ACT, they're not going to have that as the answer. They will instead fix that. Does anyone remember how to fix it? You just multiply by itself. So they'll fix this by multiplying it by itself to get square root of 2 on the top and then square root of 4 on the bottom. But what's the square root of 4? It's just 2. So this is the answer they'll have on the ACT. You might say, but Mr. Lake, it still has a square root. It's just in the top. How is that any better than having it in the bottom? I don't know. They just decided it. They decided they wanted it always on the top and not in the bottom. So that is the life we have to live now. If you want to do well on the ACT for the few questions, you'll see that. Okay. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So it is also 1 over square root of 2. And again, if you had that on the test, you get 100%. But really, on the ACT, they're going to prefer you to do square root of 2 over 2. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, which would be 1 over 1. But, and again, if you left it as 1 over 1 on the test, that would be fine. But what is 1 over 1? What's 1 divided by 1? It's just 1. Right, so these are the answers that'll show up on the ACT. If you do these left answers on the test, you will get 100%. I will not count up at all for that. In fact, if you convert this to that, I'll give you extra credit. So those left answers will give you full credit. If you do simplify them, I'll give you extra credit. All right, sine. Which one's opposite to 30? 1. What's the hypotenuse? 2. And then the adjacent side, therefore, has to be this one. If we write then, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so it's 1 over 2. That's done. Nothing more we can do there. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And again, it's okay to have that square root on top. That's fine. That's done. Square root of 3 over 2. Tangent, however, is going to give us a problem because tangent is opposite over adjacent. So it'd be 1 over square root of 3, which again is a fine answer, but a better answer would be to multiply by the square root of 3 to get the square root of 3 over the square root of 9. Well, what is the square root of 9? It's just 3. So again, that's the answer that they'll have on the ACT. And they really will. These angles are so common, the 45, the 30, and to be honest, they'll do it for 60s as well, that they will use these simplified forms. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. We can do it. You just got to multiply. It's not that bad of a thing to fix. You just have to remember that you are supposed to do it. Oh, what am I putting my pen away for? We were going to do a homework one. Okay. Last thing I want to show you today, or we'll pause. Any questions? 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 Concerns? Questions? Questions? All right. Last thing I'm going to show you today then. Homework 6.4. We are going to do number 14 together. So I think I actually have to stop share. Reshare full screen. Number 14. Okay, so for 14 through 16, they ask you to find the actual ratios rather than by labeling, but rather through a calculator. So to do that, I'm going to show you what I expect. If you downloaded the calculator from Google Classroom, which in Classroom is all the way at the bottom, like what we did on the very first day of school. If you downloaded this calculator onto your Chromebook and want to use that for the homework, you have to do a little bit of setup first. You have to hit mode here in the top left, and it will, I believe, be defaulted right now to be in radians, and you have to switch it so degree is highlighted. Okay. And then to do these is really easy. You just hit these buttons in the middle, or for sine, cosine, and tangent, we'll do the sine of 30 is 0.5. So that's not the right one. This is the right one. So the answer to number 14 is 0.5. Okay, if you did not download that calculator, I believe your phone can't do it. If you have an iPhone, I think you have to turn it, allow it to rotate, so it's in scientific mode, and it should do it fine. If you have an Android, I believe it's the same thing. You rotate it to scientific mode, so it's can have all the extra buttons. Or I will be honest, you can use Google's calculator. So if you like type in the sine of 30 to your search bar, it will give you the wrong answer first, because again, it'll tell you the answer in radians. But if you hit degree and then type in the sine of 30, it'll give you the right answer, 0.5. Okay, so I want to make sure everyone leaves class today with a calculator they are able to use. So I want you to do number 15 right now. Round it to the nearest hundredth, or round it to 2 decimal places with whatever calculator you're going to use on the test. Okay, that way I can make sure it's in the right mode before you leave. For you remote people, that is also true. I need you to tell me the answer in chat. Send me a, it doesn't, I guess it doesn't have to be private, but you can send me a private message with the answer you get for number 15. Oh, I'll give you a minute before I walk in. That way I don't stop you too. I'll just sit for a minute. I'm walking now. Yes, all right. This one actually is kind of, you have to type the number in first. So you have to type 13, then. Okay, yeah, that works. Great. Find it, Nina? Yep. Okay, yeah, yours is where you have to type, oh, yes. You have to type the number first. And then. Did you do 15? Oh, hold on, try that. You use time. It's like it's giving you the right type of it, it's just not the right type. Yay, you did it right. Good job. Yay, that's right. Good job. Okay. All right, I feel pretty good. All right, we got 6 minutes left. You have the rest of the time to work on whatever you like, or if you want to take a little bit of a break. But this is, by the way, what I was talking about earlier, right? When I tell you to do the sine of R and then the sine of S and cosine of R and cosine of S, if you do just one of them, there's a trick to get the other, so you don't have to work it all the way through. All right, go ahead and start picking it. Paper towels. No problem. All right, thanks, everybody. See you Wednesday.